Subscribe to the Donnie Houston podcast, man.
You know, I think to looking like, I didn't get a chance to do that, or I was fighting in, or I could have did. I don't like when people do that. I could have did that much better. Even when somebody coming to me, oh man, like when I had Paul and Cam signed to the label, oh, I can rap better than Paul. Bro, I don't hear that. Just rap. Or give me what you got. Don't tell me how much better you are in this person, or you're going to show more. You know what I mean? In this business, you hear that kind of stuff all the time. I just shake my head. I'm like, I'm never going to see this guy again.
You don't get it.
They'll sit here and tell me, oh man, I'm doping in such and such, man. This is my CD right here. And when they walk away, I'm like, wrong attitude. And your attitude is what's going to keep you from not making it. You so enthralled by who you think your competition is. Like, I don't know if you've been watching the thing on, I don't know, is it Netflix with Kanye West?
Oh yeah.
That Kanye West thing, it makes me, as a producer, an MC or whatever, I've always admired him. Some of the stuff that he's doing, you know, with the wifey situation, I'm like, But I love his, I'm just going to do this, and you can't stop me. And I believe in myself so much, I can't be stopped. And at any point on that road, and this is how all of us are as human beings, at any point on our road, we can allow other people to stop us. Like Kanye, there was enough roadblocks in it for him to give up and go back to Chicago and maybe be an okay producer. There was enough roadblocks. You signed a record company, they ain't really feeling you. They just gave you that deal just so you would shut up. They didn't really mean for you to blow up. They didn't think you had the capability. But you believed in your willpower, in your mind was so set on you're going to make it. You willed yourself into the success. He willed himself into the billionaire that he is. Just imagine if everybody willed themselves and had that much belief, but we allow social media or somebody like, oh, I hate you, Hatta. We'll sometimes allow that stuff to get in our head and stop us. And I can be honest and say some of that stuff probably did stop me from doing certain things, even releasing music, because you want to be looked at like everybody else. But, oh, Hatta has an unfair chance with his music. No, I don't. My last boss had to prove to me why she played the record, because I told her to pull it out because I didn't want to feel nobody's hate. She said, that's cool what you're saying, but let me show you why I can play your record. And when she showed me the stats on my record, I was like, oh, let me shut up and let you play the record there. So this guy complaining, oh, they don't never play nobody else's record hit. Bro, make a hit. I got proof that mine's a hit. So I'm okay. I feel okay with me now. But a lot of times I would cower, if you will, and not want that pressure. You know what I'm saying? Even when I had Paul and Cam, my program director at the time, he had to pull me in the office. Hey, Hatta, let me talk to you right quick. These he was a white guy. This is Paul and Chamillionaire, sir. So you don't bring that record here, sir? I took it to the mixers like I was supposed to. I said, when I work here, I'm the Mad Hatter. When I do my music stuff, that's Ben, who does that record stuff as a record company guy. I follow the rules. I gave it to your mixers. Your mixers didn't like it. Paul and Cameron were doing 70-something beats per minute and 75 before this was popular.
Back then, yeah.
Think about it, man. And Love of My Money is slow. Everything at that point is 90 beats and up. So here goes these two dudes right here, this black guy and this white guy, with a song that does not have a normal hook. It has two long-ass verses. It's not following any rules. But what happened is Dallas is playing the shit out of this record. We didn't do anything special. We worked it like you work a record in the streets. It drifted its way onto radio. Then you got to deal with other things after that. But it drifted into radio. And my boss called me and like, why didn't you bring this record to us? I said, I followed all the rules. The DJs didn't like it. They didn't. They'll lie now and say that they did. They never liked none of my stuff. And I'm okay with that. I get it. I'm me. I ain't none of these good rappers here, but I'm me and I love that. But Paul and Cam, I totally didn't understand it. And I'm like, so it messes up your mix. Well, stop those 90 beats per minute, play that record, then go back to your regular mix. But you try not to take it personal. Sometimes I think it was personal. But, and people don't realize that your hate could have been out in the streets and right in your own organization. But you don't sit around and cry about it because you look like you at the top of the mountain. So don't nobody want to hear you cry or show you showing your tears. Nobody gives a shit, right? But he like this record. He did the same thing. He pulled some research from Dallas and what was happening in Houston because I didn't understand all the research at that time, so they had to explain it to me. And he was showing me like these guys should be getting played on this radio station, and I'm going to play their record. But I understand that I'm your boss. But I understand, long as we follow the rules and this ain't happening, that ain't happening, talk to me about this kind of stuff. I said, I'll probably never, ever bring a record to you. But I appreciate what you just said about those guys because I think they deserve it. I know they're the hottest things on the street, and they deserve the opportunity. So that was cool.
Can you talk about even, because we're going to jump back to some other stuff, but while we're here with Payton Fool, can you talk about grabbing Paul and Cam and saying, I want to bring y'all over here and do this record?
Shout out to Big Cat. We probably got Paul and Cam because of Ron C. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I want to think so because all these guys in the Swisher House at the time. There's no way.
Ron C started, y'all started, he was telling me you put up, you gave him the OG Ron C, you know what I mean?
I heard that he said that. I don't remember saying that, but probably because, we DJs. So I know there was another Ron C in Dallas. So we had to make sure that we understood there was that Ron C and we got the OG Ron C. No disrespect to the Dallas Ron C, by the way. Much props to you. But we had to differentiate our Ron C's. And I didn't want Ron to feel like he had to change his name. So maybe I did. I just don't remember doing that. But maybe I did give him the OG. I don't remember, though, to be honest with you. But I think he was a catalyst in the Paul and Cam. Somehow. I don't remember how, to be honest with you. We had Big Cat over there. I just know we were coming off of down south. There was money. And so I wanted to sign artists. I liked Cam because on one of the mixtapes, he did a sly remark about J Mac. I don't remember what Watts mixtape it was, but he said this funny line about J Mac. And I said, oh, I like this dude. And then I loved Paul. I did not know he was white at the time. And then I don't know who. I think maybe Big Cat. Shout out to Big Cat. Big Cat, like, that dude's white. I said, let me get this straight. There's a white boy that sounds like he's black in the Swisher House. Oh, we got to get him. We going to the top. And they went out there. I knew that was going to, and then the funny thing, and I won't go into how long this is, but then when I signed Paul, I didn't realize that Paul was a little white kid who Paul, in his mind, I laughed at when he was a young kid. And so Paul has somewhat of an animal. It's weird that this guy would sign to my label, but had kind of like this is the guy that laughed at me, so I don't know how I feel about him. But it was still kind of cool. And I've always thought that was really cool for Paul to, even in his head as a child, to feel like he had like maybe an animosity, but still later on see the opportunity and be able to move that to the side and look at the human being at that particular time and place and say, but he seems to be okay to me. I'll sign to his label. But I had to go back and like Paul, and I remember it too. It was a Kenny Smith basketball camp. It was a little white kid and he was rapping. But I'm like, Paul, you have to understand, a white kid rapping at that time is crazy. So here's an older black guy who came up during all this hip hop shit. And I see this white kid rapping and I'm saying, the world is a different place. We have penetrated this little white kid. This is amazing. So it's not laughter like I'm laughing at you. It's like, wow, I'm laughing. And then from what I remember, he was skillful. So I'm like, wow, we have, as a people, as a culture, we have really penetrated. And, again, this is all I know is Beatsy Boys at this time, Vanilla Ice, Third Base. I forgot the young black teenagers from Def Jam, and none of these guys are super, super big other than Vanilla Ice, maybe Third Base.
MC Search a little bit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, and obviously Beatsy. So you see this white kid, and you're like, wow, this is amazing. But they signed immediately. And now, in retrospect, when I talked to Cam, I don't think Cam really wanted to sign per se as a group. somehow I think they felt like they were bullied. I don't know if by me or Big Cat, but bullied into being Paul Wall and Chamillionaire. But I just thought that they were brilliant. And the other funny fact is that track for In Love With My Money was a track of mine. Like about 3 or 4 of those beats on that Get Your Mind Correct album were beats in the studio that I'm not as skillful as those guys. Those beats were sitting around the studio probably for 2 years. In Love With My Money was a track that I would go to the studio like, I'm gonna write something on this beat because I thought it was so dope. But sometimes, your pen, you just can't do it. You're not skillful enough. You just don't got what it takes. And Big Cat rummaging through all my music in the studio gave them the track. And he came to the house and like, listen to this. I said, we out of here. He like, you ain't mad? I like, man, you can rap to everyone. You can take my vocals off the track and put them on it. I don't care. These dudes are really about this life. They really can do this thing called rap. And so, yeah, man, we really got lucky, man. It's time, place, situation.
It's interesting, not to cut you off, but it's interesting that you said that, Cam, in retrospect, you feel like he wanted to be solo because, I mean, that's, the split really happened. Over there with y'all. You know what I mean?
I knew it was going to be a split, too. You try to head it off. Cam, he won't admit it. He won't never say that he's about money.
Cam about that bread.
He won't admit that. He's a philanthropist now. But I'm very proud of him. I'm proud of all those guys. But I knew we had a problem with Cam. Cam was like, I want some money. I'm the label. No, Cam, I got 20, 30 people I got to take care of. We had the gospel label with Shay Atkins and Gary Mays and Sounds Urban Life. We had all these 50-50 Twin. Love 50-50 Twin. Savoir Faire. OG Ron C just put a record out. I was responsible. It's almost like you're a father. I was responsible for making sure everybody got paid. And then, the big downfall of Southwest Wholesale happened. And then that really, to me, kind of ended that for us because we never saw that money.
But Paul, and this is Paul Wall told me a story how you still, made sure they were straight though. And that really, he told me that, I was like, man, now I really want to meet Mad Hatter because that's some real ass shit.
Listen, man, first of all, Paul is a good dude. And I was really lucky, man. I was lucky to have, those guys were way bigger than the label. I was just lucky and everything was time and place. And Paul, I had to let him go. And he did it like a gentleman. He came to me, like, Hatter, I want to go back to the Swisher House. Yeah, you don't want him to go. I'd be lying to you if I'm like, oh, yeah, go back with Watts. Nah, we over here about to do it, but I can't collect these checks over here. My money has stopped because Southwest Wholesale went under and took everybody's money with them. No disrespect, Robert Gillivan. Got nothing but love for you, buddy. But, there was no money anymore. So, and I think Watts, what he was doing with the Swisher House, it was so big at the time. It was the right move for him. And I remember Paul said, whatever you need me to do, though, I'm going to do it. So Paul recorded a whole bunch of stuff. I probably still got stuff on Paul that I'll never release or listen to. And he did all that stuff. He was gracious. And then I let him go. He probably was doing both at the same time because I'm like, well, go over there and do whatever you got to do. He was very gracious, though, man. Still to this day, very gracious. If anybody meet Paul Wall, they'll tell you the same. He is whom he is. And I just think that it was beautiful for them to give me the opportunity to be a part of their history. Because y'all can hate me as much as you want, but you can never take me out of that history. You cannot. You can, to take me out that history, there is never in love with my money. Never. So it's interesting to be a part of so much history in the city, but purposely I pull myself out. When people will come to me and ask me to speak about a lot of stuff, I never will. I definitely won't. I won't speak on anything DJ Screw. I refuse. It's too much turmoil there.
Is it? I was gonna ask you what, because it's just one story that people have came and told about when he went to go like do an audition for the radio, and you know what I'm saying, y'all kind of like shut it down like, it's not
I always,
gonna work.
it's so funny.
Donnie Houston.